So wow, this is kind of crazy, guys. We actually just finished the podcast for the 8th episode. And immediately when I was finished, an hour long we just went, and when I was done, I had all these messages informing me that Roman Reigns will be showing up to Atlanta, Georgia this Monday for Monday Night Raw. Vince McMahon has tweeted out on his social media that Roman Reigns, will be showing up in Atlanta to address his health issues in his battle and where he is at with everything. Multiple sources have reached out to WWE. They have reconfirmed Vince McMahon's statement. Just in case, sometimes people get hacked. You never know. So people wanted to reach out. As of right now, the making of this podcast, again, we just finished the actual podcast. Now I have to go back and put this into the podcast. And that's crazy because the main story of today's podcast, which you're about to see in a minute, is about what I was hearing, and that is a Shield reunion of some sorts at WrestleMania. And that goes to show you, even before this news broke, that was the main story. And that's why I pride myself on giving you guys not just rumors, but stories with substance that are most likely going to happen. So this is just affirmation of just what I'm doing is actually good in this community. It is giving you guys the most reliable stories, topics, facts. Not all of them will always come to fruition. Vince can always change his mind. Things can get in the way. Things can change. But this is affirmation, guys. You're about to see the actual story that I just put out in the original podcast. But the second I finished filming, I got all these messages, did some research. Roman Reigns will be returning Monday. This tells me what you're about to see in the story that I'm breaking to you guys about the Shield reunion at Mania. This tells me, oh, it's gonna happen. It's true. It's damn true. Let's get to the actual podcast that I just finished filming. Enjoy it, guys. Quiet on set, take your marks. It's time. BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified Podcast, Episode 8. Action! My Amplified unit, we're a little bit early this weekend with the 8th episode of BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified Podcast. Usually we bump this out on Sunday, but I always say, always stay subscribed and notified on this channel because you never know when there's going to be an impromptu video, and you never know when the podcast is going to come out early. And this time we're doing this early. So if you are tuning in on Sunday, you're still going to be seeing this, obviously. Hello, Sunday folks. But for those of you that are tuning in earlier in the weekend, Friday, which is really early, but I got a lot to do this weekend. That's not saying I might not put out another impromptu video later this weekend, but I do have a lot to do. So I wanted to make sure the podcast was out beforehand. So that's why we're getting this out early on this Friday morning. If you're tuning in here on this Friday, this Saturday, or my normal audience on Sunday, hello, thank you for joining me. And just like the previous 7 Amplified podcasts, we're going to rock this one out the only way we know how, Amplified style. We're going to talk a possible Shield reunion at WrestleMania. We're going to talk a Hulk Hogan movie being made. First it was Paige, now it's Hulk Hogan. Rusev wants in. We're going to talk Vince McMahon possibly furious at The Undertaker, Tye Dillinger. We're going to go over Ronda Rousey and what she said to Becky Lynch moments before she went out to compete at Elimination Chamber. The ratings for Monday Night Raw. Huge shocker or not so much? We're going to talk all this, guys, coming up in this podcast. At least a full hour of entertainment from yours truly. First, I just want to say thank you to all my Amplified unit members out there. All of you that smash the subscribe button, you stay notified, you smash that like button on every video. Those of you that comment on every video, trust me, I'm in a lot of coffee lines throughout the day. I love reading your guys' comments as well. I feel the love, I definitely do, man, and I want to thank all my Amplified unit members, especially those of you that stick up for me, defend me, and make sure that you're putting people in their place. That is awesome, guys. But I do want to say this, all right, for future reference. when you do what I do now for a couple years, at the level that I do it, as amplified as I am, right? Very controversial, always calling myself the bad guy in the asshole. When you do that, obviously you're pissing people off, and I love it, and I'll keep doing it, and that's getting amplified and telling the truth and dropping facts even when people can't handle it. That's just too bad. But you're gonna tick people off, and they're gonna talk shit as they've done from day one. My advice for you guys is don't let it get to you. It certainly doesn't get to the amplified man. But when, if people talk shit, either about the amplified man or takes on pro wrestling that we collectively have, what are you gonna do, guys? Sit there like a couple 5-year-olds and fight over the internet? Come on, man. That's not the way to go about it. So, I know recently there was some old clown that was upset that I was trashing Becky Lynch and her fans, when clearly, if you listen to any video I talk about Becky Lynch, I am praising her fans for comprehending what I'm saying, and I'm always talking about how we don't mind and we actually like Becky Lynch. We just want a kick-ass feud and story going into Mania. So some clowns talking about how we're trashing their fans, or her fans, and trashing Becky. How is that not laughable? Why would you take that seriously, and why would I respond to such nonsensical bullshit? I wouldn't. But a lot of people wanted me to respond to the trash, the garbage, the nonsense. And you guys know from day one, you should know, do I look like somebody that is going to reduce myself to that level? Do I look like somebody who has time during their day, after all I do, and then when I have free time, I make these videos for my wrestling audience? Do I look like somebody who's gonna now have an internet tough guy war? Come on, man. And besides, my amplified unit, if they come across trash, is gonna blow a son of a bitch up anyway. So again, thank you to my unit. But please, don't notify me when you see somebody talking trash, either about something I said, or about our unit, or what we believe in, or our takes on pro wrestling. Don't let it get to you to the point where you're getting upset, even though you're trying to defend me or stick up for me. I thank you, and you have my permission to keep doing it, because that's what being an amplified unit is all about, sticking up for one another. But don't feel like you have to notify me every time, because guys, a lot of people are always gonna cry when I drop videos, cry when I have a different take than they have on pro wrestling. When I'm dropping facts and they refuse to take it in, that's on them. They're always gonna cry. So every time somebody cries, you're gonna notify me? No. So I ask you guys, do what you gotta do, that's fine. But please don't notify me, guys, over stupid bullshit. Because I am not going to take the time out of my day to watch anybody else, to read what they have to say in a blog or anything. I'm not going to do that. Because I don't have the time, A. B, even if I did have the time, I wouldn't reduce myself to that stupidity. Again, I cannot say this enough. I thank you guys, but I'm not going to do that. I have no desire. I have a zero tolerance policy up front. If you're disrespectful or just plain stupid, you're automatically out of the unit. When I say that, I mean everything is blocked upright. You're blocked on every form of social media that you have, including this channel. Comments will never see the light of day, no question, because disrespect and stupidity is something I don't have time for in my day. So if you guys come across anything, feel free to blast and blow up and expose a motherfucker. That's awesome. You have my permission. Stand up for the unit. But I'm over here, I'm busy for all of us trying to help change the business one video at a time. It's hard as hell, and I need a lot of other people in the community to help me. But we are trying to change the business, change the WWE. I don't have time for people that are trying to respond to me, or people that have my name in their mouth. I'm over here dealing with a whole conglomerate business. Don't forget, they're over here talking about me. I ain't talking about them. I'm dealing in the big league. I'm with the big boys. I'm trying to change the business. they're over here talking about me. I'm not gonna dumb myself down. Absolutely not. I will still continue to play those strings. I'll be the puppet master, they'll be BC's bitches, and they'll continue to talk about me. That means I'm doing my job correctly. I'm the bad guy. I'm the asshole. And I'm gonna keep playing those strings. It's as simple as that. My name will be in their mouth. You're damn right. Those are BC's bitches. Cry for me. If those tears aren't coming, if those tears aren't filling up those tear buckets, I'm not doing my job. I'm not gonna give anybody the time of day or any attention. I'm the amplified man. I'm up here, baby, and we just are gonna continue to skyrocket. Hopefully that clears that up. That's for the future, guys. You don't have to tell me when you come across somebody that's upset with our views. Too bad. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to expose the crybaby bitches. And we're doing a great job. Don't let it get to you. Laugh. Enjoy it. We're doing the job correctly. We're doing the deed. That's what I love. Hopefully that sums that up, guys. We don't retaliate to little leaguers. Not gonna happen. Now let's get on to the podcast. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest, man. Because I think we all need to start loving this a little bit more. Where do you want to start? Let's go with the Shield. This is the big story. And can I... Oh, man. All right, you know what? I'm going to go through the whole fucking every topic, right? I'm not going to break this up. So if you don't mind, I am going to down the rest of my coffee, the rest of my fucking... We got the venti size, only because they don't have an amplified size. We got the venti vanilla latte, man. We had them put an extra shot in there, too. You know, we gotta explode for the podcast, baby. So let me down this real quick, and we'll go through every story, starting with the Shield. You guys don't gotta go anywhere. Through the magic of YouTube, all I gotta do, snap, and we're gonna come right back. Did I just snap? Well, let's snap again. Alright guys, so as promised, I'll start off with the Shield. This was a story that kind of broke, I think before last podcast actually, because I was going to talk about it, but it was really at that point just rumor, and talk was just coming to the surface. You guys know I don't like to talk too much just rumor and just opinion. I like things with either facts behind them, or at least substance behind it. And then over the week, we just started hearing more and more talk that supposedly is coming from within the company that there is possibly a Shield reunion planned for WrestleMania, and that is the way Seth Rollins is going to either be taking the title from Brock Lesnar or a celebration after he gets the title from Brock Lesnar. But that is supposedly, as of now, what we're hearing is how the Beast is going to be slayed by the Kingslayer and soon to be Beast Slayer. Dean Ambrose is going to be involved, and or Roman Reigns. But either way, we expect the final visual to be Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, center of the ring, celebrating Seth Rollins' title reign. That's what's being talked about, guys. Nowhere near 100% confirmed. I just want to say that. But however, telling you this today, a lot more than just where it was a week ago, which was just rumor. So it's not exactly confirmed fact yet, but it is way more than rumor right now that the Shield is getting back together, the band is getting back together. I know that excites some people, and I know some people are like, oh no, not again. But if Dean Ambrose is actually leaving after WrestleMania, then this is not only celebrating a Seth Rollins title victory, this is also celebrating Dean Ambrose's career in WWE and a final send-off for him. So it is a going-away party and a congratulate. This is a double party, right? I don't know if it's a party if somebody is leaving, but you get what I'm trying to say. You're paying respects to Dean, you're celebrating Seth, we're celebrating Roman Reigns' return. I doubt very much, guys, if this ends up being true and this is the way they decide to go, and Roman Reigns is in the middle of that ring, this is not a Roman Reigns comeback yet, full time. I doubt that very much, although it could be. We're seeing the videos, we're seeing pictures where Roman Reigns is looking real good. Everybody is talking about how good he's looking. He looks in shape, he's in good spirits. He wrapped up the movie with The Rock, what was it, Hobbs and Shaw, whatever it is, the Fast and Furious sequel. He was in that movie. So maybe he is ready to go after WrestleMania, who knows? But I expect this, if it does come to fruition, this is just them celebrating in the middle of the ring. Or maybe Roman throws a punch or something with Dean, and that's how Seth can slay the beast, Brock Lesnar. I don't expect this would be Roman's actual return. But this is celebrating three things, or at least paying homage, right? Dean Ambrose, his final day in WWE, at least for now, at that point at WrestleMania, celebrating Seth Rollins' title reign, celebrating Roman Reigns coming back and kicking you-know-what's ass. I don't even want to say it. Hate that shit. So it'll be real cool for Roman, to come back, show himself to everybody, and show everybody that he's in good spirits. He is looking damn good, and he is kicking ass. You'd be celebrating three things. I mean, that would be pretty epic, you do have to admit. We saw this past Monday, Dean Ambrose kind of extend a little olive branch to Seth. They're kind of having a little funny moment together. So that's one way to start breaking the ice. Start breaking the wall down brick by brick with the tension that they have and animosity against each other. Again, some people are going to like this idea, others not so much. But it is my job to tell you guys that I'm hearing more and more that it is possible that in the middle of that ring, after the match of Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, you're going to see the Shield members all reunited. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I'm just the messenger in this. This is what we're hearing. Let me know down below if you guys would be on board with that, or is that something you've seen too many times and don't want to see. But keep in mind, this would be Dean Ambrose's last night in WWE for right now. This would be just a one-off for Roman Reigns, and then I expect him to continue kicking ass with what he's doing, and then come back when he's really ready and cleared. And this is the beginning of Seth Rollins' title reign. So, I mean, it wouldn't be something where the Shield is together long-term, so it would be a one-night thing. I think I'm okay with that. That's if you don't believe that Dean Ambrose... See, I believe that this is still a work. We cannot confirm that. I hate opinions, but this would be mine. They've never actually come out months beforehand and said that their superstar isn't re-signing, and then continue to parade him out there every week, win a few matches, lose a few matches, his character's kind of changing. Would they go through all this just to watch him go to AEW or wherever else? I don't know. I still think this is a work, but if it's not, then this is a send-off. And if it is a work, that's where it would culminate. I have no idea, man. This is what we're hearing, a Shield reunion. Let me know, guys, what you guys believe or think. Would you be down with it? Would you not be? I don't know. There's too much to talk to. I can't go on about it, but you could probably spend another half an hour on that subject. But we'll wait. As the weeks become closer and closer to WrestleMania, I'm sure we're going to get much more word on this. Let's go into, before I get to Tye Dillinger and what Rousey told Becky Lynch before her match at Elimination Chamber, I want to get to the ratings of Monday Night Raw, because this is pretty huge. And depending on which side of the spectrum you're on, you're either shocked over this Monday night's ratings, or not so much. Monday's ratings, guys, scored a 2.7 plus. This is up 12% plus from the previous week. This is with the announcement of the NXT stars. Now, if you guys remember what I said on that Raw review and SmackDown review, or at least one of them, I told you guys that it's going to be interesting to see the ratings. Because there is a good chance that they're going to go up because people are anticipating what to expect from these NXT call-ups. Is there going to be cool, badass storylines for them? Or are they just going to wrestle matches? We all had to kind of wait and see. Even if you're a casual fan or a mainstream media, you're wondering what the fuss is about. But then it came time, and the fuss was really about nothing. They just kind of wrestled some matches to show you what they're capable of. They could have done that against Danny Dugenheimer at the local bingo hall down the street, or Billy Buttfuck McGee. But no, they did it to valuable stars like Elias and Andrade Cien Almas, tag team champions like the Revival and former champions like Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm against that. You should have just showcased their talents against jobbers. It would have got the point across, and it still would have only been 5 minutes. So I don't know if those ratings are going to be just out of curiosity, or if those ratings are going to continue for the next week, 2 weeks, or however long that these NXT call-ups, if they're really fully called up, I mean, some of them have NXT championships like Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, so they're obviously still in NXT. So I don't look at these as like just sole call-ups. I believe they're going to kind of bounce back and forth. But after WWE sees the ratings, don't be surprised to see those same 4 individuals this Monday or this Tuesday. But it'll be interesting to see what Raw pulls in this upcoming Monday. Is that audience going to carry through to this week? Was that enough for the audience to say, hey, I love this? Or was that an audience that was waiting to see if they were going to have cool storylines, didn't get those storylines, and now they're like, I'm all set? I don't know. Tell me what you guys think down below, but we all have to wait and see. At this point, we'd just be talking opinions, and you guys know what I say about opinions. I won't say it again, but you guys know how I feel about it. So we'll wait and see. It'll be interesting, man. I wasn't really shocked that they pulled over 12% in a 2.7 plus. I really wasn't. I mean, they announced these new talents, these new call-ups, sort of. And at that point, your curiosity is piqued. Where WWE failed, in my opinion, is they didn't give them any substance behind their debuts. They threw them all out there together, so nobody's really more special than the other. They threw them out there with nonsensical matches just to showcase their talents, but in the process of doing such, talents like I just named, Revival, Sheamus and Cesaro, Andrade Cien Almas, and Elias just got treated like jobbers. NXT came up and just schooled everybody, and it's like, then what were we watching the last couple of weeks for WWE then, on the main roster? Or weeks, what am I saying? Months, years? What were we watching? Just a bunch of jobbers? No, some of those guys like Andrade and Elias, they're kick-ass. They shouldn't just be treated like that. I'm not saying the NXT guys should have lost. Definitely not. But I would not have had them in there with guys that really needed victories. Like Elias, like Andrade, like Revival, like Sheamus and Cesaro. So I feel that they failed on the way that they portrayed these sort of call-ups. You should have, I mean, these are top talents down in NXT, top talents in the world. I don't care about their size necessarily, and you guys know, I'm much more about the larger-than-life characters. But to me, a guy like Daniel Bryan is larger than life, and he's not the biggest dude. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Ricochet, they captivate me. Most of the times, more times than not. Aleister Black, not bad at all in my book. Really damn good, actually. So you kind of have to show them to your audience, especially those that don't know them, in a much bigger, brighter, badder way. As in badass, not badder like worse. I don't feel they did that. So now we have to see if enough of that audience is going to come back to see if WWE rectifies their wrongs. We'll wait and see. So I guess next we'll go Tye Dillinger. He was a big story this week, man. This is the most relevant, and we like Tye, so this isn't a knock, but this is the most relevant Tye Dillinger has been in a very long time. I'm sure Ty's thrilled to see his name up in the headlines, even if it is about leaving the company. Tye Dillinger, it was reported earlier in the week that he asked for his release. This was more substance than just rumor, so it was definitely believable, but if you had any doubt, that was quickly put aside when Tye Dillinger himself came out and said, yeah, I asked for my release. He admitted it straight out. I don't care, he said. I asked for my release. I'm not happy. Haven't been. That's why Tye Dillinger has been kind of dishing out on social media against the company and not really worrying or caring or giving two fucks about any consequence. I love that. But no, he didn't. He didn't care. And he came out and said, hey, you want the truth? You're damn right I asked for my release. You can't blame this guy. Never the biggest Tye Dillinger fan. You guys know that. And it was mostly because the whole 10. It came at a time where I was just... it was enough of just the one-liners that you know what I mean? After hearing what for so many years, I still love it to this day, but I don't want it every promo at every audience. I hate that shit, man. And then you went to yes. But what made them so special is how organic it was. And it was fun, and it was meaningful. And I feel with Tye Dillinger, we were just all forcing the next it thing to chant. The next it thing to yell out. 10! But the problem for me was 10 wasn't cool. What was cool? Yes was cool. It just fit. It's unexplainable, but it fit. 10. Sure, it goes with his character, but it's just not cool. Just to show 10. It just became annoying. There's no other way to say it, guys. It became very annoying, and I think that's what kind of put a block between me really pushing for Tye Dillinger. But Dillinger is a decent talent. He's a very good human being, man. Nice kid. And WWE just didn't give him the time of day. Now, it's interesting to hear that he's about 38 years old, right? I think his birthday just was last week, and he turned 38. I didn't know he was older like that. Not old. Definitely not. But I didn't know he was older. I was still thinking he was in his 20s, maybe 26, 27, 28 maybe, tops. So he still has, but only has, so you can look at it as I still have or I only have, but he's got about 5 good years left in his prime, guys. With today's conditioning and what we know, strength conditioning-wise, what to eat, how to train your body really, you can go into your 40s and still be in your prime. So this guy can go into his almost mid-40s, right around 43, 44. He's got about 5 good years left in his prime to really make an impact. And I think he wants to make that not in Impact, but maybe in more of an AEW. But he knows he ain't going to get that chance or that run or that spark in WWE. So I think somebody actually asked him, why not go back to NXT? And he said, I tried. So they didn't let him go back. But he tried to go back to NXT. He tried everything, guys. So now he's saying, listen, I am closing out my 30s in accordance to age. I know I have this window of years remaining. I want to be somebody more in this business. I want to do what I know I'm capable of. I hope he gets that shot, man. And I hope nothing but the best for him. You know, my thing is this. Not just with Tye Dillinger, but for everybody. Everybody who we hear, guys, that is unhappy with WWE, what are we all saying? AEW. They're headed to AEW. Here's the thing, guys. They already have a roster of 20 males and 7 or 8 females already, right? Probably even more. This was a roster I saw 7 days ago for last week's podcast. They probably just added people. What I'm saying is they already have a roster of at least 30-ish people. How many more talents can they just shove in there just because either WWE didn't want them or they weren't happy in WWE? How many more talents can you shove into AEW before now you have an overpopulation problem? Valid question, right? In NXT, we started to see it. All these top talents. But where are you putting them? It came a time where your top stars weren't even getting takeover appearances. Velveteen Dream couldn't even get on a takeover. That's an issue. He's one of your brightest stars. Some would say the brightest in NXT right now. But you have guys like, Undisputed Era, all of them. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler. The list goes on and on. War Machine, War Raiders, whatever you want to call them. The list goes on and on with the talent, and at what point is it just so much where when you go to a TakeOver pay-per-view, there's only 5 matches? You're leaving top stars off. And then what? Do they get called up to the main roster? That's overpopulated too. And the stars that they are using aren't being used correctly. So it's a whole pile of a mess. AEW has to be careful. It's not necessarily getting large quantities of people. It's not necessarily about quantity. It's about quality. I'd rather have a roster of 20 people and being used correctly than 40 people being used incorrectly. I'd rather a roster of 20 people and being entertained than 40 people and not knowing what the fuck's going on. So that is great that there is now an alternative, a real one, because people don't look at TNA Impact as a real one. They've been waiting for months and even years for TNA Impact to fold. AEW looks like viable competition. They're backed by a multi-billionaire, somebody with more money than Vince McMahon. So everyone's saying now this is the place to go. It was like WCW back in the day. It didn't matter who you were, at what level of your career, how old you were, if you were Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Virgil, Ted DiBiase, Rick Martel, Kurt Hennig. WCW would hire you because they just wanted all of WWE's talent. Past, present, they didn't care. They just wanted to eat you up. They would give you a bunch of money. They just wanted you under their umbrella, even if they didn't do anything with you. Well, AEW cannot make that mistake. Everyone has to be valid. Everybody has to have a purpose in AEW, I feel, for that to succeed. So that's great that there's another alternative, but how many Tye Dillingers or Shinsuke Nakamura's or R-Truths or anybody, Revival, anybody that's unhappy, how many roster spots does AEW have to give out? Are we going to have a roster of 70 people? Makes you think. Food for thought, man, right? You guys never thought of it like that, right? There's going to come a time where Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, whoever else is vice president, is going to have to go, whoa, guys. I'm glad you thought the grass was greener over here. I'm glad you had the balls to step up to Vince and leave the company, but I don't have room for you over here. I mean, we didn't talk about this. Just saying, guys. And a lot of people still feel like AEW doesn't have a plethora of larger-than-life stars as it is. So do they just keep piling on a lot of mid-carders and hope that some of those mid-carders become larger-than-life superstars? Because think about it. Who's the larger-than-life superstars right now in AEW, guys? Some would say Cody, but most would say maybe not larger-than-life, right? Or not now, anyway. I mean, Cody is in the... You see what I'm saying? I mean, would you put him in... You definitely wouldn't put him in Rock and Austin, right? You wouldn't put him in Hogan and Warriors category. Would you put him in John Cena? Roman Reigns category? Whether you liked him or not, I know. Don't boo BC on that one, guys. I'm just saying. Vince McMahon has positioned John Cena and Roman Reigns the last 10 plus years as the main guy. Would you put Cody Rhodes in that league? I don't think you could do that. So it's not Cody. Some would say maybe Kenny Omega, but he's never really showed what he's got in WWE. So you would be basing Kenny Omega larger than life on what he did in New Japan ROH. The problem with that is there's a lot of fans that are going to go, okay, but that's not larger than... I mean, he never even stepped foot in WWE. We're supposed to anoint him as larger than life? I'm just telling you guys both sides of the fence, what I'm hearing from both sides. So then you go Chris Jericho. He'd be the closest, I feel. And then who? Then you have a lot of guys. Ooh, I don't know, man. It's a roster of great mid-card talent. And who have been in main events, no doubt. But now you're going to be on a stage unlike any other before, at least for North America. You're going to have a TV deal, most likely, that's going to rival Vince, WWE, and the USA Network, or Fox. You're going to have to get superstars that are going to attract those eyeballs, man, in a whole nother way. I'm just saying, do they have that right now? Guys, I'm not so sure about that. So anyway, that's a little bit of Tye Dillinger asking for his release, but also begging the question, or at least presenting it. When does AEW say, hey, the doors are closed? I don't know. Do they? Do they just go like WCW? Everybody come on in. This is an interesting story, man. And I believe this wholly. A couple of different sources have said this, and they're from a couple of different people. So I actually, I do believe that this is exactly what went on, especially after you see how Rousey looked after those crutch shots and how Charlotte Flair looked. Apparently, Rousey told Becky Lynch before Elimination Chamber, before Rousey's match, lay into me. Hit me hard. Don't hold back. And Charlotte Flair followed suit. Or maybe Charlotte Flair is the one who said it first and Rousey was like, yeah, I'm on board. But they told Becky Lynch, for anyone blaming Becky for bruising Charlotte like she did, or blaming Becky for busting open Rousey, not so fast. You can't blame Becky. I'm hearing that Rousey and Charlotte, Rousey we definitely know is the story that actually told Becky Lynch to lay into her. But I'm expecting that Charlotte Flair did the same, guys. There's no way that you're telling me Charlotte Flair did not know shots like that were coming in on her. And somebody who's as tough as Charlotte Flair definitely most likely asked for those shots. But Rousey is the story that we know. She actually went to Becky and said that. But again, I think Charlotte did as well. But they went to Becky Lynch and said, lay into me, give me the shots, don't hold back. That is why you saw the devastating crutch shots and the aftermath. That's why you saw Ronda Rousey busted up. That's why you saw Charlotte Flair bruised all over the place. They asked for it, guys. They got together and they said, let's make this as badass as possible, as realistic. And that's what they did. That was a badass segment. That was awesome. Everybody looked good in that. Charlotte taking the beating. Ronda Rousey taking a beating. Becky Lynch finally looking like a badass and not some weakling. I loved it. You know, and sometimes that comes at a cost. You're going to get bruised up a little bit. You're going to get busted open a little bit. But it's for the betterment of the product. It's for the betterment of your story. And only a select few of pro wrestlers over the years are willing to go that extra mile. It's really good to see these ladies willing to go the extra mile. Love that. I really do, guys. How about Kevin Owens? This is everything about this is interesting, but I don't know if it's a good type of interesting. The vignettes that they're playing for Kevin Owens aren't badass. They're not really getting anyone excited. They're kind of like him just clowning around bowling, and not even bowling good, like gutter shots. In his car, eating pizza with pineapple on it because his son likes pineapple, and he's eating pizza. And then he's talking to his son in, again, what looks like an arcade or a bowling alley. I don't know what this is doing, guy. Is this like kind of like a little decoy, a little bit of trickery? Like, hey, he's just this lovable, good husband and father, and then he's about to brutally beat on somebody? Or not so much? Is he literally going to be this just everyday dad? Is that his character when he comes back? Because there seems to be, we're hearing more and more reports that there was actually validity to the rumors that we did hear, that Kevin Owens was coming back to challenge Daniel Bryan for Bryan's strap at WrestleMania. Now, plans with Kofi Kingston and his ongoing surge in momentum could shake that up. We're going to talk a little bit more about Kofi Kingston and that later, but let's stick with just Kevin Owens. If that was the plan, then Owens would have to be coming in as a face. So he's not going to be a dastardly heel, and all these little fun-loving dad vignettes are just to kind of throw everyone for a swerve. He's going to be back to that kind of sadistic Kevin Owens, the one that's going to powerbomb you on the apron of the ring. Turn his back on you. You know, that kind of Kevin Owens that really made us take notice. But no, if you're taking on Daniel Bryan at Mania for the strap, then obviously he's coming in as a face, or at least that was the plan all along. And now Kofi Kingston's momentum and surge might change that up. And maybe the Fastlane match with Kofi leads into another fallout match at WrestleMania between the two. So then where does that leave Kevin Owens? I don't know. Would you guys rather see Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan at Mania, or Kofi Kingston trying to achieve his lifelong dream taking on Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania because he couldn't get the job done yet again at Fastlane? Who knows? Which story is better remains to be seen. Can WWE pull off either story better than the other? But that's interesting, guys, that more and more we're starting to hear that Kevin Owens' only plan when he came back was they were going to have him and Daniel Bryan. But this is Kevin Owens' character? Just a fun-loving, everyday dad? With a dad bod? And two bad knees now? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, we love Kevin Owens, but what the he's eating pineapple pizza, bowling badly, and fucking around with his kid in his vignettes. That's the best way you're bringing back Kevin Owens? Again, put them in the category with every other superstar under their thumb, under their watch, under their umbrella. They're booking everybody like clowns, jokes, and sideshows. Why would Kevin Owens be any different? Unreal. And Sami Zayn, still no word on him. He's not too far behind from what we're hearing. Sami Zayn, in the last interview I saw, guys, he is no rush at all to come back. That's what WWE will do to you, man. Something he loves so much, loves to do, would do it for $30 every night, $20, sometimes for free. In a year or two on the main roster, and once he gets an injury and he's sidelined, he's like, hey, I'm in no rush, man. What am I coming back to? The same lackluster, mediocre bullshit that they put me in for the last 2 years? I don't blame Sami Zayn at all for not being in a rush to come back. But he's not far behind. Eventually, Vince is going to have him come back. He's going to have to come back. I don't know, man. Do you put Sami Zayn with Kevin Owens? Is that one of those deals that we've seen it so many times before it's redundant? Or is it at least redundant, but at least it's fun and entertaining more than they would be separate? I don't know, man. It's in the eye of the beholder. That's what the comment section is down below. Voice your thoughts, guys. I'm not even going to try to pre-book this. I'm going to sit back, watch what WWE actually does. If it's actually pretty good, I'm going to give them the golf clap. If it's really good, I'm going to praise what they're doing. And if it's absolutely mind-bogglingly, confusingly stupid, we're going to get amplified, man. Obviously. Come on. You had all this time to think of something for Kevin Owens that was really epic. Something for Sami Zayn that was really epic. And you come up with nothing? I mean, if they were having him come back to take on Bryan for the strap, that's pretty huge. Kofi Kingston, at that point, not only shattered anything that Mustafa Ali was going to try to do, but he's also going to silence Kevin Owens and anything they were going to have him do. Kofi Kingston is ruining everyone's plans. Interesting, right? You never know in this business, man, who's going to get white hot. And for how long, too. Booking has a lot to do with that. Hopefully they do not screw up Kofi Kingston's booking. Alright, this one's kind of funny, guys. This is Hulk Hogan. He's going to have a movie based on Hulk Hogan. That's right. First it was Paige, a movie about her and her family. The Rock produced that. Then they sold the rights to it, and it's going to be debuting. It's already kind of debuted in some cities at film festivals and some major outlets and cities everywhere. I think today, right? If you're watching this on Friday, then today, I believe Fighting With My Family is what it's called for Paige's movie. I believe that's out. It doesn't matter when you watch. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you catch this video, that movie is out now. It should be in a town that you live in. I don't know if it's in every... I don't know, guys. Look it up. I'm not your advisor for your movie theater. Got things to do over here. But Paige's movie comes out this weekend, I do believe. Hopefully it is in your town. Hopefully check it out. Let me know if you liked it or not. Hulk Hogan does have a movie that is in the works. Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk Hogan. True story. This is the reports. It will focus on Hulk Hogan's rise in the business. It will not go over all the juicy stuff like the Gawker lawsuit, the divorce, the sex tapes, the race comments. It won't go over any of that. Just Hulk Hogan's rise in the business. That's what we're hearing anyway. We don't think this is going to be like for a theatrical release. We believe they're going to try to cut a deal with Netflix, or at least that's the early reports. Be like a little biopic with Netflix. That's the news, guys. Rusev is having some fun on social media. Rusev wants a part in the movie. So yeah, I just thought I'd pass that around, guys. That's not rumor. That is actually, I can speak. That's actually, fact right now. Whether they go through with it remains to be seen. It looks pretty legit that they're going through with it, though. They even got Chris Hemsworth, from what we're hearing, to play Hulk Hogan. But we don't know what stage of development they're in, you know what I mean? If it's really early stages and they're halfway there, at any moment, trust me, I learned this the hard way, at any moment, your production can be flipped upside down, halted, stalled, delays. Some projects get totally just nicked. They just get cut. So we'll see, man. We don't want to jinx Hulk Hogan's project that he's got coming out, but there is a movie based on Hulk Hogan's wrestling career. First page. Next was Hogan. You guys got somebody you wouldn't mind seeing a movie about? Pro wrestler? Male or female? Drop it down below, man. I'm sure there's several superstars who, if you captured their journey to get to where they are now, it would be one hell of a movie. I'm sure that I can think of 5 to 10 off the top of my head that I would not mind watching, for sure. I don't know if Hulk Hogan would be in my top 10. Probably not, because I already know his story, and it's not the most interesting. But we'll check it out, maybe, right? Tazz. This is another fun little story here. Tazz was on his little podcast, and he's talking about, I don't know if he was asked or he just shed some light on when wrestlers or plans, I think it was. Wrestlers is about 5 to 7 weeks, he said. But plans for WrestleMania start getting penciled in, he said, 6 to 8 months in advance. So 6 to 8 months, guys. So you're looking at May, June, July, August, September. Basically right after SummerSlam, Vince and company is making plans for WrestleMania. And I totally believe that's the case just based on what we've seen over the years. However, based on the last several years, it shows you how out of touch Tazz is. Because Vince McMahon is doing nothing 6 to 8 months in advance anymore. He's 6 to 8 days in advance. If you think you got set up for Mania, don't hold your breath. I would wait, because 6 to 8 days beforehand, Vince McMahon will change everything. That's what we've seen with this guy. This guy is so minute to minute. Screw 6 to 8 days. He's probably 6 to 8 minutes before your match is about to start. He might change shit. That's Vince McMahon. So I think it used to be 6 to 8 months. Now I believe 6 to 8 months is literally just like the most basic rough draft. And then they revisit every month. Vince doesn't know what he's doing. Realistically, I joke 6 to 8 days, but realistically, I think around January, even now, Vince McMahon is still trying to finalize this thing. And I don't think it's fully finalized until probably mid-March. So it's adorable. Tazz has shed some light on that, but that's nothing we didn't already know, and it's something that has drastically changed since Tazz has been with WWE. I promise you, we see it for the past several years. Shit is switching on a dime. Shit, the whole Daniel Bryan yes movement totally made him change his main event. But not even for shit that we did or made him do. It's just Vince McMahon's brain these days. He's switching things up left and right. Plans that he had in August or September for Mania are changing, and now, February, will change in March. So you definitely can't go by that, guys. If he is doing shit 6 to 8 months in advance, I promise you it's the most roughest of drafts, and the way that they want everybody to forget what they've seen 24 hours before with this product makes me believe that they're forgetting what they've seen or put down on paper 24 hours in advance. So even if they wrote the whole thing 6 to 8 months in advance, it definitely isn't getting followed through with. Just saying. A couple nonsensical things that befuddle me and is not good for the business. The Bella Twins is, was it Total Diva? No, I think it was the Bella show. What was that? The reality show. Total Bellas? I think the viewership on Total Bellas, I don't believe it was Total Divas. It doesn't really matter, does it? The viewership was actually up from the previous week. One of their best viewerships in a while. That doesn't bode well, because if Vince gets a hold of that, or E! Network, they're going to renew this thing for another 27 seasons. I was hoping that thing just sunk so low that they finally get rid of it, but in all honesty, as long as 100 people are watching, they'd probably keep it around. So that got more ratings. I don't see how. That thing is so not interesting, A, and B, it is so overly scripted that it's a sham that they call that reality TV. There's nothing reality or realistic about it. Anybody who watches that type of stuff, I applaud you, because it's mind-bogglingly just horrendous. If you're gonna watch a show like that, I recommend Ms. and Mrs. Because at least that's entertaining. Miz is over the top entertaining. It's fun. You know off the bat that it's really more scripted than reality, but they don't shy away from that fact. They play off of it. So I recommend that, guys. If you're going to do a Total Bellas or a Total Divas, scrap that. Go to Miz and Mrs. There's a new show coming out, the new season, I believe either later this month or next month. Check your local guides, just like Paige in her movie. I'm not your theater source, and I'm not your TV guide. You check it out, just as I will. How about Vince? Upset with The Undertaker. I've been following this for the past couple of weeks. 2 podcasts ago, I told you guys that Undertaker was starting to accept bookings on his own up to $25,000, guys. An hour. Not a day, not for a weekend, not a week. $25,000 an hour. So you're damn right. He's justified in leaving Vince McMahon because he can make a hell of a lot more money by the hour than what he was making contractually with Vince. So he took off, separated from Vince. On his social media, he totally deleted any reference from WWE. So I broke that story a couple weeks ago because I thought that was kind of interesting. Then last week on that podcast, I told you guys his first big appearance that he signed was at StarCast this year. Well, Conrad Thompson has said that StarCast isn't actually associated with AEW. That's cute and cuddly for technical purposes, right? If you're getting technical with the situation, then they're not conjoined. They're not together. But everybody associates StarCast with AEW. Why? Because that was the All-In event last year when Cody Rhodes and the Bucks put that on. StarCast, the first ever one, was connected to it. Now this year, All In Part 2, called Double or Nothing, an actual AEW event, StarCast is holding their second event connected with it. So whether you call it connected or not, the perception is that it's connected. Perception ends up being reality most of the time. So whether you like it or not, and we know it's not actually connected, people are going to perceive that. The Undertaker is going to be at an AEW weekend event. Whether it's connected with AEW or not, it is an event connected with it through perception. You can't tell me differently. StarCast is an event that fans are coming, the ones that are going to see the AEW Double or Nothing show. Most of them, The Undertaker's at StarCast? Of course I can see why Vince would be pissed, but you also can't blame Undertaker. The guy's getting mucho dinero. Mad money. Money that he could never get with Vince. And he was getting millions with Vince. But 25 grand an hour? Vince, much love. Check you. I'm out. But I said in that podcast last week, it seems to me like there's a little bit of a rift. I totally believe Undertaker told Vince about it. But for him to delete all mention of WWE on social media, for him for his first appearance to be StarCast, I kind of feel like there's friction between the two. A misunderstanding that has grown to something bigger. So I do actually believe there's something to Vince McMahon being furious at The Undertaker right now. For them to say that DX is going into the Hall of Fame, okay? Let's just play devil's advocate because we fully expected, New York City, we fully expected The Undertaker to be the headline at the Hall of Fame. The headliner. Not only did we hear no mention, they just broke this past week on Raw that DX, the entire group of Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chyna, they're all going in to the Hall of Fame. You're telling me they're not the headliners? Trust me, I don't want to see them as the headliner. Chyna maybe by herself could be a headliner. I'm cool with that. But DX as a group going in as the headliners, to me, seems like an alternate plan. It seems like an audible to me. Like there was something else that was bigger but didn't come to fruition. So then DX as a group ended up coming in because Shawn Michaels already a Hall of Famer. Triple H anytime could go in. I don't think he is already, right? No, but we've already seen Triple H What's the point? So you're going to bring them all in as a group. It seems like an audible to me, and it seems like maybe The Undertaker didn't want to be Hall of Fame right now. Maybe he wanted another match. Maybe he's not ready yet. And you know Vince, he likes to put him out the pasture. He hung on to The Undertaker longer than anyone else, but maybe he's like, no, now it's time. Little bit of conspiracies here and jumping to conclusions, maybe, but guys, this is valid points. These are things that need to be discussed because we clearly thought The Undertaker was going to be the first announced name. He was going to be the headliner. He could still be announced, but DX right now is getting all the headlines. Usually we hear the headliner announced first. So it looks like Undertaker is not going into the Hall of Fame. We'll see if that changes. We expected him to be there going in, and now it looks like he's taking other bookings and even on AEW weekend events for Double or Nothing. Looks like there's some friction. We'll see if they can get back together, because that would be a shame, man. The Undertaker personifies what WWE is all about for the last quarter century, 25 years of The Undertaker. That's WrestleMania. Wait, wasn't he 89, 90? His debut? So that's 30 years in WWE. If you're talking 80, 89, 90, his debut year, his full year, 89, 90, you're talking 90 to 99 to 09 to 19. 30 years in this, 3 decades, brah! And now you're going to have friction? Something to look into, man. We got to find out facts. Lastly, I do want to thank you guys on, I posed a question. I believe it was the SmackDown review video. I posed the question, it's realistic to believe that we could get 3 matches that are pretty damn decent, but the outcomes can only go one way, I believe. And would that be too much? And what I'm talking about is the 3 matches of Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. They're playing up Becky Lynch to be like an underdog here. Whatever, I feel she should be just more of a badass, equal to Ronda Rousey. But, okay, we can play her as the underdog. But that match, mixed in with, who's the other one? Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. That's announced as well, just like the triple threat match we expect to be announced in the next couple of weeks. Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. We obviously look at Seth Rollins to be the underdog, trying to defeat Goliath. And then we could possibly get Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. Those are 3 underdog stories. And you're thinking, well, BC, I see what you're saying with Becky Lynch and how they're playing that character and how she's portrayed as the underdog. You're saying, BC, I see how you're portraying Seth Rollins as the underdog. But BC, Daniel Bryan's always been the underdog, and he's not the biggest dude. So how's Kofi Kingston? But guys, you know damn well that's how they would position Kofi Kingston. If after Fastlane they have another match at Mania, they're going to play off the fact that Kofi Kingston has never won the championship in 11 plus years in the company. They're going to play on the fact that Kofi Kingston has never really garnered that actual huge success that every wrestler yearns for. Over a decade in this company, and he's never really had the big matches. So they're going to portray, even though it's against Daniel Bryan, that he's the underdog. And potentially, you have 3 underdog stories in one big night. Is that too much? Because we think Becky Lynch is definitely walking out as champion in her match, so she's going to slay the Goliath of Ronda Rousey. Seth Rollins is going to slay the Goliath of Brock Lesnar and capture the championship. And wouldn't you give Kofi the title at WrestleMania? So is 3 underdog David beating Goliath stories too much for one night? I'm posing the question. I'm an overbooker. I'd rather more entertainment than not so much. I'd rather more epic moments in one big night than just 1 or 2. I don't care about overshadowing. If you do it correctly, every moment will stand off in its own and have its own unique feel and epicness to it. So as an overbooker, I would love all 3. Some people would feel maybe it's too much. But in all those matches, if they do happen at Mania, again, we know Kofi and Daniel Bryan are facing each other at Fastlane, but if that match leaks into WrestleMania for another match, then all 3 of those, how could you go another way in those matches, right? Would you have Daniel Bryan, Kofi, and Bryan actually keeps the title at Mania? Would you have Brock actually keep the title in his match with Seth, or would you have Becky Lynch not walk out as the champion? And this whole story, dropping it at TLC, winning the Rumble, this whole on crutches underdog authority storyline was all for her not even getting the title? How would you guys play that out? Or would you just avoid it and not have those 3 matches at WrestleMania? I have to be honest. Those 3 WrestleMania matches, as much as I wouldn't like a triple threat, I just want to see Ronda, Becky, built like badasses one-on-one. Just give me a one-on-one match. But they're 3 badass matches. I'm down with it. And I'm down with the underdog stories if you're going to play that. Because I am an overbooker. Some people, not so much. Where do you fall on it? And the whole point of this is I want to thank you guys because I posed that question on the SmackDown review reaction video this week. And a lot of you guys responded with some good thoughts, man. And a lot of good opinions. And yes, I was drinking a lot of coffee. I was in a lot of coffee lines this week. I read all of them. I tried to anyway. Hopefully I didn't miss any. But everyone who gave their opinion in that video, when I posed that question, I tried to smash that like button to your comment, guys. So if you see a like symbol, maybe it was other people as well, but I definitely tried to like every single person that responded to that question. So I thank you, and I tried to show the love right back. And feel free to answer that in this video if you want, guys. Anybody who didn't already, because I've already seen the ones that did, and they were great. Everybody has their own take. Are you an overbooker, or do you think that's just too much for WrestleMania? We went at least about an hour, or maybe at an hour, maybe above, but around that hour mark. And I thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm going to let you go and kick the rest of the weekend's ass. I will obviously see you guys Tuesday morning for the Raw review and reaction. Man, they got to do a lot better. I don't care. The ratings were up 12%. That's awesome. Is that going to carry through to this week? What I do know is they got to start utilizing people a lot better than what they've been doing. That's all I'm going to say. The next words I'm going to say about Monday Night Raw will be after this Monday's Raw, where I have justification to get re-amplified. You know the rules, guys. Down those coffees, kick that ass. The Amplified man. Holla at your boy Peace because he's out. And for now, check you.
Now wait just a southern second. You're telling me this podcast is already over and not one mention of little old me, the Southern Belle, Lacey Evans? See, I'm going to WrestleMania, BC, and I'm going to whoop Asuka's buttocks. That's right, I said buttocks, because I'm a Southern lady and I don't dare curse. That's what makes you just a mean potty mouth.
Lacey, I thought I told you. Know your role and shut your mouth.
Oh, BC, when you yell at me like that, you turn my Southern Skittles right on.
Well, in that case, get over here, Lacey. I want to try some of that Southern pie.
Oh, BC.